Cozy Things chat. These have been so much fun to make. So in case this is your first time seeing a Cozy Things chat, this is a series that I started last year where I speak with a friend and they tell me 10 different things they find cozy. And I love seeing kind of the wide variety of what individual people find cozy. So I'm honored to be joined today by my friend Melissa. She has a lovely Instagram that you will want to follow that has all of the life-softening things. It is a Duchess Inside, and I will link it down below so you can have a look and yes, just enjoy all of the loveliness on there. So welcome, Melissa, and thank you for being willing to be a guest.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's really fun. I've watched all your other Cozy Things videos, and they're my favorite, one of my favorite things on your channel, because I always get some new ideas of things to listen to or watch, or just new people that I go, yeah, there's another kindred spirit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's funny, like I always leave recording a Cozy Things chat with being like, oh yeah, I'm going to look up that movie or get that book. And then as I edit, I'm like, oh yeah, and then that one. So
yeah,
it's fun to have new cozy resources.
Always.
So yeah, it's fun. We both like Victorian literature. We both really like Rosamunde Pilcher.
Yes, we do.
And you have made me certain that I need to try Marcia Willett.
Yes.
And also children's fiction we enjoy.
Yeah.
We are to the age now where we can enjoy children's fiction again.
That's right.
Yes. So I guess let's just dive into the list. And what is your first cozy thing?
Okay, so my first thing is one of my favorite author illustrators. And I know you've probably heard me talk about her before. So Tasha Tudor.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a big pile of things to share. So just for
Beautiful.
anybody who doesn't know who Tasha Tudor was, she was a very prolific author, illustrator of children's books. I think she illustrated something like 75 or more books in her lifetime. So she's famous for that, but she's also very famous for her lifestyle. So she was a very eccentric lady, came from a very eccentric, wealthy, artsy family in New England. And at some point in her adult life, after she had children, she decided, I really belong in the 1830s. I know that's the time I was meant to be. So I'm just going to start living like it's the 1830s. So she bought a place in Vermont, like a farm, and started living an 1830s life with the clothes and no electricity and all of that. So she's a fascinating person. And I kind of just admire that she said, you know what, I don't have to be like everybody else. I can do what I want with my life. And she did. So it's kind of cool. So anyway, I just have a few of her books that I have that I think are really pretty. So this one, The Springs of Joy. So it's a picture book that has different quotes about the seasons and spring. Let's see, I marked a couple pages here so you can get an idea of her artwork.
Oh my goodness.
So it's all very sweet and old-fashioned, and it features children and animals a lot. So this one says, there is no season such delight can bring as summer, autumn, winter, and the spring. That's from William Brown.
Those illustrations, actually, I just realized they remind me a little bit of the Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, the Garth Williams. Yeah, yes, I can see the similarity. Yeah. Oh. And then let's see one other picture. So this is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And then you can see, so she used her own children as models a lot, and her corgis and her cats. So I just love her artwork. I think it's so pretty. And then just another thing, she illustrated A Children's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Oh, I didn't realize that was her.
Well, I think there are probably multiple versions of it, but she had one of the versions. So I just, so you can see all the different pictures. So that's that. And then additionally, she illustrated two of my favorite books. Actually, my sister had this version when I was a kid. So that's where probably the first time I heard of Tasha Tudor was from her illustrations in A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So some of them are little pencil or ink drawings.
That's so sweet.
And then also some color pictures as well. So again, there are a lot of different versions of this book, but I really like her illustrations. That to me, that's the version because that's what I grew up with. The same with The Secret Garden. She has a version of The Secret Garden as well.
Oh, I haven't seen that specific cover with the lock, like Mary showing through the lock.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really, really cool.
They're so pretty.
Yes.
So we'll love her for those. And then she has a cookbook. Actually, yeah, I think there may be 2 cookbooks. This is the one I have, the Tasha Tudor cookbook.
Oh my goodness.
So she was really famous for her cooking as well. And she cooked everything in the old fashioned way, like on a wood stove. And then she had this thing called what did she call it? It just went blank. I'll remember later, but it's like basically like something you put in front of the fire with the meat. It's like and it goes around on a spit.
Oh, wow.
The tin kitchen, I think that's what she called it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I haven't actually tried any of these. I need to cook some of them. I mostly just look at them and go, oh, I'm like missing my wood fire. Don't have that. And then there's some books I have that are just about her life and stuff. So this is The Art of Tasha Tutor by Harry Davis. And I wanted to show this one to you because I know you recently read The Wind in the Willows, and she illustrated a version of that. So here's one of the pictures from that. So I've looked for her edition of The Wind in the Willows, but they're kind of hard to find. They're out of print and it's like really expensive. So
of course,
I'll ever find one, but
well, hopefully if you just stalk like eBay and Ibbotson, all of that. Eventually.
Yeah, you never know. But I would love to have one of those versions. That would be pretty cool. And then there's a couple other books that I just love. This one is about her. It's called, The Private World of Tasha Tudor. So it goes into all her biography and how her lifestyle out there in Vermont. So she is doing her art. Let's see, she had a lot of eccentric, fun hobbies. So she was into puppets, and she kind of famously, I think she was in Life magazine in the 40s or 50s with the puppets that she created and did for her children. She would do these things for her children called Sparrow Post. So she created these little mailboxes, and she created tiny letters from the birds and all the different animals, and her kids would go in the morning and find little letters.
Oh my goodness.
There would be like catalogs where they could order clothes for their dolls, and she would make them and then send them to them in the Sparrow Post. I mean, can you imagine? It's so fun.
That just seems like such a storybook thing to happen.
So magical. Wow. So this is her home in Vermont, if you can see it. And then she had corgis. That was like one of her favorite things. So I'm just like, she's my heroine. I want to live her life. Although I really want electricity. I'm not going to lie. I can't live without that. Yes. I need the internet, but I wouldn't mind living in the country somewhere.
Yes, I agree. Oh, that is also lovely. Yes.
And then just one more of hers called Tasha Tudor's Garden. So her garden is another thing she was very famous for. So her home, let me see. Like here's another picture in the spring, her working in her garden. And she lived to be, I think she was probably 90 or something, and just working out there barefoot in her garden and stuff. This is like my dream garden.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a cottage garden.
And I love how like it looks cultivated, but it also looks kind of wild and wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I love these books. They're out of print, but I think you can find these pretty easily at the used bookstores, and they're worth it. Just every now and then you just want to sit and look at them and have a cup of tea, and they're so nice. I love Tasha Tudor. And I think if some of your viewers haven't heard of her, they would probably like her. She's their cup
thank
of tea,
you for sharing those.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. All righty. Shall we move on to the second cozy thing?
All right. Let me see. So number 2 is kind of similar vein, and that's Beatrix Potter. So I love Beatrix Potter. You can see a theme. I think I really like the idea, at least, of like country life, little woodland creatures, gardens. So I mean, I have the complete tales. So I think everybody knows probably about Peter Rabbit and stuff. but I just love
Mhm.
all her illustrations.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Now, out of her animal tales, do you have a favorite?
I mean, I really like Peter Rabbit. You can't beat that, right?
Yes.
I really like Mrs. Tiggywinkle. I like Jemima Puddle Duck. She's a favorite too. One time years ago when I lived in an apartment that was like on the water, there was a duck that built its nest like in the bushes right in front of my apartment. So I named her Jemima Puddle Duck.
Oh, that's
so
so
I felt
sweet.
I was always watching out for her. I think she probably had as much luck in life as poor Jemima.
Oh,
but anyway,
I really I think maybe actually the Tale of Tom Kitten might be my favorite. Yeah. And what I love is that Tom Kitten's mom, she puts them in starched white clothing and then is shocked when they get dirty.
they get dirty.
And I love how she says, "I am affronted." That's like her line.
That is really good. So yeah, I love her stories. And then I just love her as a person. I think she's so fascinating. Yes. So I have this book that's At Home with Beatrix Potter. So that's from the National Trust, which she helped to found the National Trust in Britain by donating her home and her land in the Lake Country. So this book is just like about her house, Hilltop, and the gardens.
That's the thing that's so marvelous is you read the stories and you love them, and then you learn more about her and you're like, wow, she was just a really wonderful person.
She really was just an amazing person. And then I have this book I love that's called Letters to Children from Beatrix Potter.
I need to read this book immediately.
Yes, it's another one that's out of print, but if you can get a hold of it, it's not that I found it pretty, sorry, the light's glaring. But so she wrote a lot of children, and I think kind of famously, Peter Rabbit was a result of a letter that she wrote to a friend's son that was sick or something. And she didn't know what to write him, so she wrote him a story that turned later into the book Peter Rabbit. So yeah, so it's neat. It has all her letters that they have to children.
That is so special.
And it just makes you think, I wish that I had written cute letters and drawn little pictures for my nephews when they were little.
Yes.
I don't think I have her talent. And then the last thing on Beatrix I have that I really like is Beatrix Potter Journal. So it's not actually her journal, but it's like written as if it is her journal. And it has like different excerpts from things about her life, like her family tree, like a little family album. So it has like little ephemera in here, which I love books like that, where there's like little letters you can take out.
Yes.
This is the letter of Peter Rabbit, actually, that she wrote to little boy, what was his name? Noel Moore.
Oh.
So you can like pull it out and pretend she gave it to you.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a fun book too.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that is delightful.
Beatrix.
Oh.
All right.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention the other thing on Beatrix. I do have a lot of those little figurines, and Susan Branch has a lot of those too. That's really why I started collecting them, because I saw hers and I was like, they're so cute. Yes. So I have them in my windowsill in the kitchen mostly, but so I collect those too. So I'm just so old grandma that collects old figurines but I don't care. I love it.
Yeah, no, and they bring you joy whenever you pass by them or see them. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Alrighty, shall we do the third cozy thing on your list?
Yes, let's see. Okay, number 3 is classic movies from the golden age of Hollywood. So the 30s through the 50s is my absolute favorite.
And I just love following your Instagram because there are so many that I have never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And particularly the one that I'm so grateful you recommended this Christmas. Oh, what is it called?
Was it Margie? Did you watch Margie?
Not Margie. It is the one where she doesn't have family to be with for Christmas.
Oh, Remember the Night.
Yes,
with Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray. That's one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's so
and
good.
I have only seen Fred McMurray in The Happiest Millionaire.
Yeah.
But I really liked him in that. So it was fun getting to see him in a different role.
Yeah, he was really a great leading man in the 30s, 40s. You should check out some of his movies with Claudette Colbert. He did I think 5 or 6 movies with her, like romantic comedies mostly, and they're really good. So yeah, he's worth checking out more.
Very cool. So what are the
Yeah.
ones you have to talk about today?
All right. So just kind of general categories. Shirley Temple movies. I love Shirley Temple movies. I love them since I was little. Some of them are kind of cheesy, but she's just so cute and so talented. And
Yes.
so there's a lot of them I really love. Heidi, I watch every Christmas.
Oh,
What was the most recent one I saw? Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, A Little Princess. So all those movies that she was in, I think, are just so fun. So
that is so fun.
yeah. So I could have picked so many movies, but I was trying to think, what are the ones I turn on when I just want to feel comfort and just relaxed? And I've seen them so many times. If I miss a minute, it's no big deal, but I can just have them on with me, for company. So that's what these movies are. So that's one of them. Let's see, I have some pictures here. So here's one of my cozy movies. Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House with Cary Grant, and Myrna Loy, and Melvin Douglas. Have you seen that one before?
I've never even heard of this one.
You would love it. Okay, so they live in this, Myrna Loy and Cary Grant are married, and they live in this tiny apartment with their daughters in New York, and they're so cramped, so they decide to buy a house in the country, and it turns out to be just a money pit, like one thing after another. But it's so funny, and just domestic details and coziness. And Melvin Douglas is their best friend, and he's a lawyer, and he just has all these funny, sarcastic lines. He's so good. So it's just such a good movie. I think you'd like it.
Oh, lovely.
That's one of them. Let's see. Okay, so this is just an example, but so Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland movies. So they did a lot of movies together as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I really love the Andy Hardy series as well with Mickey Rooney.
I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
It's fun. My history teacher in high school, he was a big fan. And there was one day he just let us have a fun day.
Yeah.
And we watched one of the Mickey Rooney, Andy Hardy movies, and it was a lot of fun.
I think Mickey Rooney is an acquired taste. I mean, I think he can be a bit much for people these days, maybe. But I just love him. I love those movies, especially because they're so cozy. It's just Americana in the 30s and 40s.
Yes.
And his dad's a judge, and their family, it's like his problems with his girlfriends and his car, and I just love it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite series. And then when Judy Garland gets in the mix too, it's just extra good.
I feel like they seem kind of like if the Archie comic series were movies.
Yeah, I can see that sort of the high school vibe and all that. So I really like them, and they always have like a lesson. They're very wholesome. And Andy always has like a heart-to-heart talk with his dad. He's like, can we talk man to man? And then there's a lesson. His dad's a judge, so it's just the best. I love it.
That's so fun.
This one as well. So Good News is one from 1947. So it's June Allyson and Peter Lawford. It's a musical, and it's set in the 1920s in a college. So it's about their romantic problems and the football game and all that kind of stuff. And there's music, and it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. I think you'd like that one too, probably.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it is kind of funny to me because it's set in the 20s, but all the girls have like 1940s hairdos and stuff. They didn't worry about those details. And then I think this is the last. Oh no, second to last. So Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. All their movies, but I really love Swing Time and Top Hat. I think those are the best.
Top Hat, and I've seen Top Hat and Shall We Dance, and I just have it's always stuck with me, the one where he dances her to sleep.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I get them mixed up, to be honest, because the plots are usually sort of similar.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. It's like, but that's kind of the good part about it, is that you know what you're getting. It's going to be fun and light and romantic, and then they're going to dance, and it's going to be beautiful. And there's going to be so much glamour, the glamorous Art Deco sets and everything. So I love that. That's one of my favorite things to watch just for fun when I want to relax.
Oh, lovely. And Fred Astaire, he really had such charisma.
Yes. Yeah, I just love him. I mean, he was the most amazing dancer. So really, I could just say Fred Astaire movies in general. I love watching him dance. Yeah. And then my last movie I wanted to mention was Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart and William Holden. So I don't even know how many times I've watched that movie since I was a teenager or even before. It's such a Cinderella story, really, since I really like Cinderella.
Yes.
So I love those kind of makeover movies,
Yes.
Yeah. And Audrey Hepburn was the best in those. So
yes, Audrey Hepburn really just, she's another person that when you learn about her life, she was
an amazing person. More.
Yeah.
So I love her. But yeah, so really, I mean, honestly, I could just turn on TCM and that could be my list. Turn on TCM.
Yes, that's your happy place.
It is my happy place.
Oh, that's delightful. All righty. And what is your next cozy thing?
All right. So I have just some novels that I think are especially cozy that I wanted to talk about. So first, Lucy Maud Montgomery. So I know everybody knows about Anne of Green Gables. But last year I did kind of a reread of some of the other books and I really loved them. So first, I guess I'll talk about The Blue Castle. This is probably my number one comfort read that I've read a million times. I just love it. It's so cozy. It's one of her only books that she wrote for adults. And it's a romance. And it's just really inspiring, I think. It's about a girl who has been just like under the thumb of her parents, her mother, and her aunt for years. She's never really had any enjoyment out of life. And then she finds out that she is very ill and probably going to die. So she's just like, forget everything. I'm going to live my life while I can. And she ends up having some adventures and meeting a man. And it's just the best. It's just so good. You've read that one, haven't you?
Yes. And I love it. And the nature writing in it is just
it's really beautiful. So Lucy Maud Montgomery is always good at nature writing. She's really one of the best at that. So that one I want to mention, and I dropped my other book. 1 second. Okay. So Pat of Silverbush and Mistress Pat. So these books, I feel like I had read them as a kid because I was obsessed with everything Ellen Montgomery, especially Anne. But I really didn't remember much about these at all until I read them again last year. And I love them so much. They're so domestic. Of all her books, I think they're the most cozy domestic. Really? So it's basically, she lives at Silverbush and it's her home. She loves it so much. She's kind of averse to change. So it follows her from a little girl until she's a grown woman. And she just wants everything to stay the same at her home and her family. And eventually she has to realize that things can't stay the same forever. And it's like some of it's so funny. I've laughed out loud so many times. I cried so hard at the end of the second book. It was just an emotional roller coaster. And I was like, these books are really good. And I think they're underrated. You don't hear about them as much.
I have not read them. And I have the beautiful source books versions of them. So you're inspiring me that maybe around spring or summertime, that
would be a good time to read them. Yeah, I kind of feel like rereading them this year because I love them so much. And I think I was just so blinded by Anne of Green Gables in that series when I was young.
Yes.
And I read Emily. It has its issues, but I did like it. But some of those other books that she wrote, I didn't really get into as a child. And now I read them, like Jane of Lantern Hill. I read that last year too.
Oh,
that's another really good
Jane
one.
Of Lantern Hill.
Yeah, but I really think I like Pat even more. I loved these books very much.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so there's those. And then I want to talk about Eva Ebbetson. So she's a discovery I made last year and that I really just love. So The Secret Countess is probably my favorite one. So it's about a girl that was in the Russian aristocracy, and during the Russian Revolution, she ended up having to come to America and she became a maid. So it's kind of a Cinderella story in that way. She becomes a maid for a wealthy family in England, and the son is about to get married to this really horrible woman. And of course, then the romance starts developing between the Russian maid, and the man of the house. So it's really good. I really enjoyed this one.
Nice.
And then I've read 2 other of her books that I liked. The Morning Gift.
I love that title so much.
Yeah. So let me see if I don't have my glasses on. Spring 1938, as Hitler marches into Austria, Ruth Berger's family is forced to flee, but a devastating misunderstanding leaves her alone in Nazi-occupied Vienna. There's no hope of escape until a chance meeting with an old family friend, Quentin Somerville, who offers her refuge through a marriage of convenience. I love marriage of convenience stories. It's like one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
And this is a really good one.
Well, and I like that too, because I think there is, I don't know, kind of this pressure that watching movies and other things can put on people to think that you just are supposed to have this kind of lightning strike moment and just immediately be infatuated with someone.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of only over time that you can really get to know someone. And
yeah. I really like that about the marriage of convenience stories. Have you ever seen that there's a Hallmark movie with Kerry Russell? It's called The Magic of Ordinary Days.
I have. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Hallmark movies. And it's another one. It's a marriage of convenience. And we say also Sarah Plain and Tall.
I actually just checked out the book from the library.
Did you? Yeah, I love those books.
I want to follow it up with watching the movie.
Yeah. Have you seen the movies before?
I saw them forever ago, like when I was like 7 or 8.
Oh, okay.
So
you'll love them. Oh, they're so good.
I've heard they're really good.
Really good. Yeah. And then the other Eva Ebbetson is that I've read is A Company of Swans. And it's about a girl who wants to be a ballet dancer, and she like sneaks away from her family and travels with the ballet company. And of course she finds romance. These all have some romance in them, but they're very tame.
Sweet romance.
They're a bit more, I wouldn't say sweet, but definitely not anything
closed
really
door.
Racy. Yes, closed door. That's a good word for it. But yeah, so I really love her writing style, and I have a few more of her books that I haven't read, so I'm excited to get to those.
Oh, that's so nice.
Soon. And then of course, I have to mention Rosalind Pilcher.
Yes.
I mean, at this point, it's like I feel like I'm a cliche when it comes to Rosalind Pilcher because I just love her so much. But Solstice, Coming Home, and I can't wait to read The Shell Seekers. It's the only big one I haven't read yet.
It's so good. It's tied with Coming Home for me.
Wow, I can't wait then, because Coming Home is so good. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read, honestly.
And was last year the first time you'd ever read it?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's so funny because I had some of my friends had said, you need to read Rosalind Pilcher. You'd really like her. And I even had some of her books and I just never read them. I was like, I don't know. I never even thought about picking them up. They just, I don't know. There's something about them. I couldn't get into them. And when you said you were doing the read along, I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. And oh my gosh, I fell in love. Yeah, they're so good.
I really think just sometimes it's not the right time for a book. And also as readers, like we have so many different books that we're kind of like, oh yeah, I'd like to read that at some point.
Yeah. It's overwhelming. Sometimes you can I think sometimes that's why I get into a reading slump too, is because I just have too much. It's hard to settle on what you really want to read.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then just this book on Rosamunde Pilcher that I really like, The World of Rosamunde Pilcher. So it seems like her life is pretty much like one of her books. I mean, well, Coming Home, she wrote, it was based largely on her own youth, you know, and because she lived in Singapore when she was young, and her dad and mom like sent her off to school in England. So a lot of similarities.
Did she have a thing that I don't want to give spoilers for
the creepy
guy, the movie?
Yeah, thing? I don't know about that. Maybe that was added for drama.
Okay.
I hope so anyway.
Yes, I hope so too, for her sake. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And so anyway, is that all your cozy authors?
That's all my cozy authors.
Oh, those are so nice. Alrighty. I guess the fourth cozy thing. Are we to number 4, I think?
All right. Yep. So we're on number 5, actually.
Number 5. Okay.
So I don't know how many visual aids for this one, but it's cozy. I put cozy, domestic, peaceful YouTube videos. So people so I have the first person I would put in that category that I discovered was the Cottage Fairy. So Paola Merrill, I think her name is. So I don't know if you've watched any of her videos, but she lives in the country in Washington State in the mountains. And so her videos are just beautiful. Scenes of the scenery there and the different seasons, and her doing things around her little cottage. And she has a beautiful voiceover. She's just a very thoughtful, quiet kind of person. I think she would fit in well in the whole Kindred Spirits Club, probably.
Yes.
So I just love those videos. They're very soothing to me. There's another channel that I discovered recently. It's a Japanese lady who lives in the United States, in the countryside somewhere, I don't know where. She has like her cats and her dog, and it's called Neko Niwa, Nekoniwa.
Okay.
So kind of similar. She shows, she's taking care of her chickens and cooking and just doing homemakery things. And there's like pretty music. And so that's a fun one.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of these type of videos seem to be either set in Asia or from people who lived in Asia and now are somewhere else. So Honey Jubu, that's another one I just discovered recently. So she's Japanese and it's like just her domestic life. Just like a vlog of her domesticity.
Wow.
Let's see. And then there's Gorogoro Kitchen, and that's a Japanese couple that lives in Paris. So their videos are amazing. Goodness. Yeah, because you see like the Japanese side, they're cooking and things and the way their house is, but then they go out in Paris and go to flea markets and just wander around in Paris. So it's really nice. I really like
those
that
all
one.
sound so nice. Those will be fun to investigate all of them.
Yeah, you should. So and then there's one I just recently discovered called Hamimommy. So it's a lady her little girl's named Hami, but it's in South Korea. So she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's cooking and cleaning and doing things. It's just so relaxing. I can't explain it, but it's just something about watching other people just live nice, peaceful lives. It's just so relaxing.
And I think it's nice too watching some of these I feel like sometimes when you watch like travel vlogs, you can kind of feel envious, but when you're watching people do just quiet domestic tasks, it's just calming and you feel content to have kind of a mundane day.
Yeah. It just makes me want to do things around the house. So it's just inspiring more than anything. It makes me want to cook or organize something. It really kind of makes me want to do it myself, except that I'm too camera shy. I don't know, but I think it would be fun because I have a little garden and I like cooking and doing things around the house. So I just think it might be fun to figure out how to do things like artistically film them and put pretty music and editing to them. So Absolutely. Who knows, maybe one day.
Yes. Oh, that would be lovely.
Yeah. So I think that was it. Yep. So that was number 5.
Oh, very cool. All right. What is the 6th cozy thing?
So that is cooking shows. So I love cooking shows on TV. Ina Garten's my absolute favorite one, Barefoot Contessa. I just love her. She's living my dream life, really.
And you know what I love? I feel like her fashion sense is very as time goes by.
Yeah.
Right? Just the like loose polyester blouses. And it's like casual chic, kind of like comfy around the house, but you look put together.
Yeah.
And her voice is delightful. Her food is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever made any of her recipes that didn't turn out really delicious.
Yes.
So she knows what she's doing. And I really love the earlier episodes, especially when she was still cooking in her house versus now she cooks out in the barn, which is like where she has her studio and stuff. And she used to have a lot more where she was having a party and her friends were coming over and stuff. And now she doesn't do that as much anymore. It's more just instructional. And maybe every now and then Jeffrey will come in. But I really love those early seasons where it's like, you feel like it's more her life.
Yeah. One of my favorite recipes is an Indonesian chicken recipe from her. And it's soy sauce, honey, ginger paste, garlic. And it's so good. But what I love about that episode, how I found the recipe, is as a birthday present to her friend, she makes him a birthday dinner and he gets to help make the birthday dinner. And then invite a couple of friends over and yeah, that's really
those old episodes, she used to do things like that, a lot more, or it would be like an occasion, or Jeffrey's coming home for the weekend, I'm going to make him his roast chicken or whatever. So it's nice. I just love watching her show. I have all her cookbooks. So one of my favorite things that I make from her is it's called like weeknight bolognese. So it's really good. And it's pretty simple, but something about she always brings a lot of flavor to it, everything. So it's really delicious. Mary Berry, I love her as well. So I've never actually seen, I think I told you I've never seen the British Bake Off show. So I didn't know her from that. But a few years ago, I was at home sick and I was just like flipping around on YouTube and I saw this lady cooking And so I was just falling in love. So I started watching all that. When I was sick, I watched just tons of Mary Berry videos that I found on YouTube. So I just really enjoy her as well.
Yeah, she's lovely. And now there was kind of a kerfuffle a few years into the Bake Off. So she's not in the later seasons, which is
yeah, I heard that. Yeah, so that's too bad.
But I think it was maybe like seasons 1 through 5 she was in, or maybe 1 through 4. Yeah, so the new judge, she's great, but she's no Mary Berry.
Yeah, Mary Berry seems very special. And I guess everybody in Britain just loves her. She has all these TV shows, and I have some of her cookbooks as well. Although I haven't actually cooked from them yet. I just wanted to have them, but it's kind of hard to sometimes translate the British ingredients, British measurements and stuff.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's what I really like. All of Jamie Oliver's recipes on his website have American and British measurements.
That's good. I think so does the next person on my list, Nigella Lawson. So yeah, I think if you go to her site, you can like toggle back and forth between, but still sometimes the ingredients you can't find, like their self-raising flour is different than our self-rising flour. You know, just little things like that. But it's still fun just to watch them anyway. Most of the time I don't cook what the people are doing. I just like to watch it and feel inspired.
Yes. Yeah. It's fun just to watch and occasionally be like, I feel like putting in the work of making that.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then there are a couple YouTube channels that I like, Entertaining with Beth, which is really a good one. And then one I just discovered in the past few weeks called Food Impromptu. So that one's really good. I think it's a lot of like vegetarian and vegan cooking. But the way she films it is, again, kind of like those other videos where it's very relaxing and soothing to watch. And I made one of her recipes the other week. It was a chickpea pasta. It was really good.
Ooh.
It was like pasta with chickpeas and vegetables and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was number 6.
Cool. Alrighty. What is your 7th cozy thing?
All right. So this is kind of a simple one, but just candlelight. So I guess, especially coming out of the winter, that fall and winter, you really it's nice to have candlelight. I mean, I like to have candles that smell good too. But something about the light of the candles is it really nice when it's dark out. But I have 3 cats, and I'm always worried that they're going to set themselves on fire because they're very curious and they have long floofy fur. So I've gotten to where I use those LED candles.
Oh, that's
Some of them are really good. So I have like the little tea lights that flicker, and I put them like in mercury glass holders, and they look very realistic. And then something I did recently that I just am so happy about is I bought these 3 pillar candles, LED candles with a timer and a remote, and I put them like around my bedroom. And then I set the timer so they come on at 9:30 at night, and then when I go into the bedroom, they're already on and flickering.
That's so nice.
It's just something welcoming, like you walk in and already the candles are on, but you don't have to worry about burning your house down during the night.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. And I remember really loving my grandparents. They for 6 months out of the year, they would live right across the street from us, and it was so nice. And my grandmother put in their windowsills these little candlesticks that you would plug in, and so it looked like there was a little candlestick in each windowsill.
Oh, how neat.
And that was just so inviting looking.
Yeah, there is something very inviting about candlelight. It's just special. Even if it's a fake candle, it's still nice.
Yes. Oh, that's so nice. Yes to all the candlelight. Once it starts to get dark, in the fall, we all feel kind of down about it, and we have candles lit at every supper. And it doesn't matter if we're having like chicken nuggets and fries, like we still like
you gotta have the ambiance.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it adds to it.
It does.
Very cool. Alrighty, what is your 8th cozy thing?
So I've got a big stack for this.
Yay!
Get it. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, so the 8th thing is home decor books.
Ooh.
So I am kind of obsessed with home decor and pretending I'm an interior decorator. I love decorating the house.
You really do. Speaking as someone who does not have an eye for home decor, I love seeing the way you decorate seasonally and just the colors and different patterns and textures you put in your house. So that, you know, everyone, you'll enjoy on Melissa's Instagram.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, a lot of it is because of these books that I have right here, just these people that really have inspired me even though they're books that are by decorators that obviously are decorating for really fancy rich people, not normal people. You can still get ideas from them, and that's what I really like about it. Plus I just like looking at them, and they're just beautiful like a work of art, you know. So first, let me see, I'll show you this one first. So one of my favorite designers that has influenced me a lot is Mark D. Sykes.
Ooh.
So he has he's in California, and he just has a really like beautiful, let me see if I can find. So he's really famous for loving blue and white in his decorating. So that's inspired me a lot. My living room, it has a lot of blue and white in it, and a lot of that came from him. I thought I had marked some pictures in here, but maybe not. Oh, here, this is his second book called More Beautiful. And let me see if I can find some pictures. Okay, so this like is one of my all-time favorite living rooms. If I could move in here right now, I would. It's so light and cheerful.
Yes.
And just all the colors. So that's what I love about, you know, you learn to mix the different patterns. I never would have thought of those curtains and a flower, you know, like a floral couch.
Yeah.
But it looks so good together.
They do, and especially because he has like the white walls, so you can kind of go more crazy with the accents that you have.
Yeah, exactly. So here's like some close-ups from the room. So just like the different cushions you can mix together. And
wow.
So I just get a lot of the inspiration and just enjoyment out of those kind of pictures.
Yes.
And then another favorite designer of mine is Charlotte Moss. This is one of her books called A Flair for a Living. So she is a very fancy decorator. Like all the fancy rich people would get her to decorate their homes. But she has tons of books, and I just love her style. So this is one of my favorite things she ever did. Okay, this is a huge book, so I'm going to try to do this. Sorry.
Wow.
Do you see this? So this is in her personal, like in her library, her study. Wow. So she calls this the Wall of Dames. So she put up pictures of women that she really admired. So when I was decorating my little dinky, you know, study, you can see over here, I had my own little wall. So that was inspired by her.
Oh my goodness.
My little wall of inspirational pictures and just.
Can you tell me who is the lady? Is she with her like her hand up on her the temple?
That is Babe Paley. So she was just a famous socialite. She was one of Truman Capote's swans, quote unquote, and she was married to Bill Paley, who was the president of CBS. But she was just very famous for her style and her home decor and all that. So I have like Audrey Hepburn and Princess Diana, Betty Davis, and just people that I like, and then just art. So even though mine doesn't look as fancy as this, I still got the idea from her.
It's lovely though. I really like it.
Thank you. So I love getting ideas for things like that. Like she has this book called Charlotte Moss Entertains. Wow. So she talks about setting the table, and there's like a beautiful table setting. And like all the different linens and napkins and things that she has. Oh, my cat's coming here. Hi, Sophie. Sorry about that.
Sophie's here, everyone.
Sophie, be quiet. Come here, girl.
Sophie has a cozy thing she wants to share.
She does. She is the cozy thing. I started to put cats as a cozy thing because they are the coziest pet you could have.
Yes.
And then just last one is another favorite decorator. She's from Dallas named Kathy Kincaid.
Wow.
If I was suddenly rich, she's the one I would call to decorate my house. So one of the things she likes to do is put like plates on the wall, like blue and white plates. So in my living room, and in my entryway, I have blue and white plates. Now these are probably fancy antique ones, and mine are like from the thrift store or whatever.
Like blue willow would be kind of.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, like willow ware and stuff. So.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
that's so nice. Neat to see where you get your inspiration.
Yes. And a lot of these you can get, I'm sure you can get a lot of these at the library because they are expensive. But once I really like somebody, I'll invest in the book if I know I'm going to keep looking at it all the
Yeah.
time. Because some of them I would
Yes.
like check out of the library so many times. I was probably the only one that ever checked them out of the library.
It's nice to be able to do a test run with that visual of a book.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Alrighty. What is your 9th cozy thing?
All right. So this one is just classic sitcoms. So that's my true happy place. Probably even more than old movies, more than books, is old TV shows from like the 50s to 70s.
Oh, yes.
Because that's what I grew up watching, like in reruns in the summer. And so I watch them all the time, just whenever I want to feel relaxed. So like I Love Lucy, that one. The Donna Reed Show. That was sort of my pandemic show, actually, because I was when I felt really stressed out, I would just watch Donna Reed.
Oh,
so I just love her.
I haven't actually watched the Donna Reed Show. The
really?
one in that kind of category that I've seen is the Dick Van Dyke Show. But I haven't seen the Donna Reed Show.
It's more of like Father Knows Best family sitcom.
Okay.
But it's my favorite. I mean, I really like Leave It to Beaver. I like Father Knows Best, but the Donna Reed Show, I just really love the dynamic of their family, and it's very funny. And Donna Reed was just another person that when you find out about her as a person, she was just amazing. Wow. A really wonderful woman. So, yeah.
You know what else I really enjoy is are the Munsters and the Addams Family.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I never really got too into those. Maybe when I was little, but I don't really watch them too much anymore.
Yeah, no, it makes me think of being at my grandparents on like a Friday night. Yeah.
That's what a lot of these are. It's like just makes you feel that childhood feeling again.
Yes.
That Girl. Do you like That Girl with Marlo Thomas?
What's so funny? I was just going to ask you if you'd seen That Girl.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. That also, even though I think it was made maybe even as much as a decade before, but the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah, that's on my list too. And the Dick Van Dyke Show and the Bob Newhart Show.
Yes.
The first one when he was a psychologist.
Yes.
In Chicago. And MASH. I love MASH. So I watch that a lot.
MASH is one I haven't seen as much. I should try out. I should try it.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't like MASH because I just thought it was I didn't understand it really when I was younger. And then it was just so drab. Everybody was wearing that army green. It was like,
yeah.
But then I think it was like the year I was between high school and college, I was working at Walgreens as my summer job, and I would get home from the store really late and MASH would be on TV. So I just started watching it as my like relaxation show, and I got really into it, and I've loved it ever since.
That's so fun.
It's really good.
That's really fun.
It. Classic sitcoms. I could list more, but those are probably the top ones that I really love.
Yeah. There is something just very, very soothing about them. And Andy Griffith.
Yes, I love that one too.
Yes,
I do.
My boys they're pretty bored by Andy Griffith. Like they'll sit and watch it if I have it on because it's TV, and they just will watch it. But it's definitely very low key.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know my nephews won't watch old things. They say they don't like things that are gray. And I'm like, that's black and white is so nice though.
It eliminates a lot of things.
I know.
You know what? Actually, black and white pictures. There's a really cute picture that my dad took with my brother when he was around 3, and he just had these huge chubby cheeks, and it's a really sweet picture of them together. And my mom was saying this picture does not look dated in the same way that if that picture had been taken in color would have.
Yeah, I can see that, especially some of those pictures, like my family pictures from the late 70s, early 80s, they get that sort of orangish tinge to them, you know? They like get all old.
Yes. Yeah.
But I love black and white TV and movies.
Yes. Yeah. It's different. You have to get used to it, but
I think I was just raised on it. So it's good if you're showing your kids old things now so that they will appreciate it and think it's normal.
Yes. And well, and in one movie, I'm just thinking where it's so like it couldn't have worked in color is Hitchcock's Rebecca.
Yeah.
Just the use of light and shadow in that film is sublime.
A lot of old movies, I feel that way, like Casablanca. I mean, it wouldn't be the same in color because so much of it is, I mean, it was a true art. And maybe not as much in the sitcoms, you know, they were just a TV show. They didn't have as much time, but the old movies that are in black and white, they're, you know, the cinematography and the black and white photography was a big part of it.
Yes.
So, I mean,
no, I totally agree.
Yeah. So I'm all for it. No colorization. I'm against colorization.
Yes. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
upsets me because it always looks so fake.
It does. It looks very like, in the like 60s when Disney had like Technicolor movies come out.
Yeah.
That's what it looks Technicolor.
Yeah. Well, I love Technicolor. I do, especially like Technicolor MGM musicals and stuff like that. That really vibrant. But the actual colorization where they like took black and white movies and colorized them, their teeth always look gray.
Yes. Yeah.
It just looks fake.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Are we to the 10th?
We are already. So I have some more props for this one.
Yay.
So this is my secret joy and secret shame, which is that I collect vintage magazines, and my closet in my hallway out there that is supposed to be a linen closet is my vintage magazine closet, and it's full of old magazines.
Hey, if you have the space for it, you have
I know.
Keep it in a closet, as opposed to like my husband has told me how his grandparents, their walls were just lined with magazines.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Sorry, Sophie. Do you hear her meowing? Oh, I should have shut the door, but then she probably would have meowed more if I shut the door.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so vintage magazines are one of my favorite things. I really like, first of all, so some magazines I love from like the 80s, 90s time frame is Victoria, the original version of Victoria.
And you have told me that these are just, it's night and day.
They're so much better. I like the current Victoria, it's okay, but these are so special. They're just like so beautiful. They have so they're just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the content was just, I think, a lot better. And I just love looking through them. You see like everything was very romantic. Like even had like fashion and the covers were gorgeous. So yeah, this magazine came out, I think it started in the 80s sometime, and then it went until the early 2000s, and they were published by Hearst, and then they went out of business, which was just heartbreaking to everybody who loved the magazine. So then I don't know if it was 10 years later or something, another publishing company, Hoffman Media, I think it is, bought the rights to Victoria and started it up again, which was nice, but it's just not been the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. So here's just another one. I really love this cover.
That's so nice.
So pretty. So this is from, I don't have my glasses on, I can't read. I think it's from the 90s. There's another one. So they had like their British issues. And so they would talk about gardens and clothes and books and traveling. So here's like a whole long article that they had on William Wordsworth. I feel like there was more substance back then. I mean, like they would actually talk about literature and stuff. I miss it, but that's why I hoard my old copies.
Yes.
And then I bought a bunch on eBay. So
that's just
so beautiful. Nice. And they're more, I think they really were more trying to be Victorian in some ways, you know?
Yes.
And even just the old ads from back then.
Oh my goodness.
They're so nostalgic to me. February 1994.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you can find any old versions, they're worth getting.
Those look so nice. And like you said, there's an article on Wordsworth and one of them, just as an example. So
yeah. And I think actually they had several stories over the years on Tasha Tudor.
Really?
So she was, they really liked her and would write about her quite a bit.
Oh, that is very cool. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. It has been delightful to hear your cozy things, and thank you everyone for watching. And just always so much fun to do a Cozy Things chat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was really fun.